Nottingham's creatives unite to highlight enslaved women who worked in the cotton fields of America and the Caribbean and female underrepresentation. It came about after a community arts project found there are more statues called John than there are of women. I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it? And the group wanted to recognise how these women of our past have influenced the infrastructure, the buildings and the wealth in Nottingham today. Rachel Halaberda has more.
What we see is two women intertwined, one representing the women who worked in the textile mills in the Midlands and the other women who were enslaved and working in the cotton fields of America and the Caribbean. Only 5% of statues are of women, and there are actually more named John than there are of females. This sculpture will soon be brought into reality as a life-size structure formed of bronze.
Live in a city that was, that grew wealthy off the back of textiles. We remember the architects who've made the fancy buildings and the mill owners and the business owners. But where are all the thousands of women that worked and toiled those long hours and gave them that wealth?
The group wrote poetry related to what the sculpture stands for. Louisa is one of the models representing the history of women working in the cotton fields. She hopes the whole project gets people thinking.
The pictures will say something to them, and emotionally it will sort of linger in their hearts. I just think the details on some of the pictures, they're just fantastic. They speak to you, and they speak to you deeply.
Judy was also a model for the sculpture and represented women working in the Midlands cotton mills.
There's such a hidden strength in all that women have to offer. We know them in certain roles. Thank goodness those roles are expanding.
Panya Banjoko led the poetry sessions running alongside the sculpture project.
Conversations about the role of women, the place of women, conversations about being black and racism and institutional racism. All of these things we've discussed along the way in the workshops and then have somehow managed to translate them into poetry.
This is a very inclusive design for a sculpture, confronting directly some of the legacies of the slave trade and how those impacted on the textile industry, which was obviously a very significant industry in Nottingham.
This part of the exhibition will be open to everyone until Sunday. The life-size bronze sculpture will then eventually stand at the Broadmarsh redevelopment as a permanent celebration to the stories of ordinary women who lived extraordinary lives. Rachel Halaberda, Funnots TV.
Unbelievable. I cannot wait to see that. The bronze statue, as Rachel said, will be at the Broadmarsh when the redevelopment is done. And if you want to see the exhibition, by the way, it's at the Nottingham Society of Artists Gallery up by the castle. So definitely worth a visit. It looks amazing.